I'm Julie Makish. I'm a senior at Wheaton College. I'm from Bridgewater, Mass, and I'm a studio art major with a concentration in painting and photography, and I'm a business minor.
My name is Emma Kate Metzger. I'm a double major in business and management and studio art. I have a passion for business with nonprofits and the arts sector, and my area of interest within studio art is in between sculpture and graphic design. I think I do consider myself an artist. Yes, I'm an artist. It was the most difficult decision to say that out loud. It is really hard it's hard. It's not hard just to take a compliment or to, yes it is. It's hard, to like take a compliment or to tell or have someone tell you you're creative or that they think that you're artistic, because art is so subjective, like what is art?
So my senior project is photo transfers and paintings that are about young people who consider themselves spiritual or religious, and the individuality of their spirituality. Wow, that sounded nice. And yeah, how that shows itself in a visual form. I want my project to encourage people to talk about religion, because there's a lot of misconceptions, religions cause conflict in between each other, and that's not true. There's a lot of misunderstandings about different religions, so I think people need to talk more about it.
During my whole senior project, or the beginning of critical issues in the fall, I was thinking that I wanted to do some kind of art that was inspired by the death of my father and the cancer that he had. And so I've been looking at cancer patterns here and there, but not really thinking about it. And these abstract shapes are something that came to me, and I started creating, and were just based on playfulness and color and relating these motifs together. And then inherently, as I started looking at them and thinking about them and playing with them, creating patterns with them more and more, and them overwhelming me and getting bigger and smaller and changing in scale, I realized that inherently I was putting meaning into these images and these shapes, and they were representative of what I felt about cancer and what I felt about death. And I think that relationship between honesty and death is something that is often stepped around, and that in the face of death, positivity takes form. And I write that in my artist statement because I really believe that people overcompensate for sadness with positivity and mask their own kind of depression because they don't want to deal with it. Being able to be positive and being happy is only capable when you're able to accept sadness. And so finding a relationship between those two things are something that I've often put together in my art.
A lot of artists follow their passions because they know that making art isn't easy to make a living on your own, but they follow it because they love it so much. So they're okay, I'd rather have a one-room apartment and make awesome art.
Artists have a sense of perfectionism in that we're always trying to make something better. And if we made something and we're proud of it, then we can move on and we can make something again that's that much better. Especially a few of us this year, we strive to be the best, and there is a hell of a competition between all of us. You should have seen us just figuring out where we're going to go in the gallery. And so I think that's something that being a successful artist is hard, and that's something that a few of us in senior sem really got to, is that we advocated for ourselves and we care. And so there are like quite a few of us that like really started to compete with each other and started to like see that like more and more of us were like creating larger and larger bodies of work, and I got into this mindset almost that like this was my moment and like this had to be like the best thing I'd ever done. And I think some of us got into that point too, and I think like it didn't have to be, but inherently I think it's not, I don't think it's the best thing I've ever done in my life, but I really feel like this is like the most proud I've ever been of my art. And I could say that a few of us in the gallery feel the same. And my work, I think, does invoke a sense of balance, and finding that with a sense of imperfection is really important to me. So I spend a lot of time moving things an inch, a quarter, like 10 degrees, telling like Patty installing my mirrors, move up an inch, down an inch, over a millimeter, up a millimeter, slightly quarter to the centimeters. But I don't know, it's like I get this feeling the moment that my shapes or my items are, like my figures are in that right spot, it's like I immediately, it's like there's a click and it's like there is a balance. I spent hundreds of hours on this project. I completely neglected my body, neglected to sleep, dehydrated myself, got sick, got so stressed out that I started like having like little panic attacks, like broke down crying in tears, felt incredibly depressed. Being an artist is the most emotionally tolling thing you could do. Like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Like, constantly have to dive deep into our emotions and think about the world that we're living in and being innovative and developing new ideas. Like, that is tough shit.
I think being an artist isn't like just making art. I think it's like thinking creatively and like applying art to like everything you do.
Art is everywhere. You know, art isn't just an art class. Art is creativity. It is thinking spontaneously. It's coming up with original ideas. It's being innovative. It's taking an idea and a new concept that you want to develop, figuring out how you want to like bring this something to life, and then creating that. And oftentimes it's really innovative and creating new material. Like, art is like the one kind of subject overall where like the only requirement is for you to like pursue a passion and like develop an original idea. When people say that art isn't hard, it really it kind of gets me going, because it really is what brings communities together and like so much support for this world revolves around the arts, and without that, you know, I think a lot of people would be lost.